It's Wednesday. You know what that means. Time for the Southern California Writers Association Hump Day Book Tour. I'm your host, Maddie Margarita, here with Diana Pardee on tech. Every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, the Southern California Writers Association welcomes a new author to introduce themselves, share their work, and maybe share a writing tip or two. So take a break, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy as SCWA's Hump Day Book Tour welcomes Carl Vonderau. Carl is the author of Murderabilia, which has won the Left Coast Crime Award for the Best Debut Mystery, the San Diego Book Award for the Best Mystery Suspense, and the Kops-Fetherling Gold Phoenix Award for Best New Fiction, Best New Voice Fiction. Like the protagonist, he has been a private banker and was raised in a Christian Science family. But unlike his protagonist, he sits on the board of Sisters in Crime San Diego. So welcome, Carl.
Thank you, Maddie. Yeah, I don't know too many bankers who are sitting on the boards or any of the local boards of Sisters in Crime.
See, there you go. It's you're setting yourself apart in every way. So tell us a little bit about Murderabilia and what attracted you to the story, and what was it about the characters that intrigued you?
Well, my whole career was in banking, all kinds of banking in different countries. So my protagonists typically have something to do with banking. And I wondered, what they're private bankers, they deal with a very wealthy sector of the population. And I wondered, what kind of secret would they have that they wouldn't tell anyone? And so I thought, well, suppose your father was a serial killer. And your mother, took the whole family from Illinois to California, changed your name, and nobody knows who your real father is. Your father is now sitting in a prison. He's been there for 31 years. He's infamous. He took pictures of his victims. Everybody knows who your father is, but they don't know you're his son. So I thought, that would be an interesting premise. And then, of course, you need something to incite the drama in the premise. So suppose someone calls the private banker and says, I know who you are. And then killings begin, and they look just the way his father would do them. The only one who can solve the crime is the monster he hasn't seen for 31 years. So, you just kind of do the what if story. And then I started to get into children of serial killers and did some research on that, and very, very difficult lives because they are pariahs in their communities. Everybody thinks that you should have known, or you did know, or you somehow helped. And like Melissa Moore was the child of the Happy Face killer. There was Carrie Rawson, who was the child of BTK, and they had no idea. When it happens, it feels like your whole life has been a lie. And I think the worst thing is, these kids love their fathers, but how could you love a monster like that? What does that say about you? So those are the kinds of character issues that I got to explore in the story as well.
So I guess the sins of the father is a scary and a time-worn, time-explored issue, and not only just in serial killers, but in every way. Do the children bear the sins of the father, and what effects do they have on their children? So I guess that's a note to all fathers: beware of what you're doing to your children. But
you're funding a future therapist.
Yeah, there you go. But you also, in addition to that thread, which is really an interesting story, he has children, right?
Yes. And so your own children, when do you tell them who their grandfather was? When do you tell them what he did? When do you worry that your own children might be carrying that same kind of gene? How do you worry that someone else's children find out about it and tell your own children before they're able to deal with it? These are things that children of serial killers have to confront.
Well, it's interesting. I know that there have been a lot of studies about serial killers and genetic predispositions and things like that. Did you look into that at all, and is there such thing as a genetic predisposition to that?
Yeah, I did. it's really small. It's minuscule. But my protagonist's son is kind of on the spectrum in terms of he's a little odd socially. So you kind of wonder about him, what's going on in there. But he's only 7, so it's too early to tell.
And what are their names again? What are Williams?
Garth is the boy, and Frida is the daughter.
Garth and Frida. That's
Yeah.
right. How could I forget? Those names haunt me till today, Carl. And then the other interesting thing about the book is murderabilia.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about how you decided to include that in there, and what exactly murderabilia is.
Well, I wanted something that would truly make the protagonist's father infamous. And so I thought, well, suppose he takes photographs of his victims, his dismembered victims, and poses them. And he does it in such an artful way that people in universities actually study his technique. But to do that, I thought, well, were there others that already have done this, taken photographs? There was a guy named Harvey Glattman, I think in the 50s, who lured models to his motel room, took photographs of them, and murdered them. And then I discovered there's a whole industry out there for memorabilia and objects that belong to serial killers. It's called murderabilia. And it's really creepy stuff. Like John Wayne Gacy, his paintings, some of them sell for over $100,000. There's one of his house and his crawl spaces. I mean, people are buying this stuff. And, let's see, Charles Manson, his stuff goes for all kinds of money, and it's really mediocre art. But it's the possibility of owning something that was created by a psychopath. So
Just out of curiosity, I'm a little speechless. Welcome to Wednesday, everybody. This is a great way to start your day. This has been Creepy Central here, but what kinds of people buy things that are owned or attach value to things that have been owned by serial killers?
Well, they claim that all different sectors of life, a lot of movie actors, etc., will buy these things. There are dealers that actually befriend people in prison, try to get them to do art so that they can get the art and sell it for a profit. All different sectors of the population.
So is it art per se, or items that they own, or primarily art?
It can be anything. Ted Bundy's glasses were listed for $70,000. Whitey Bulger, they were selling his sneakers. I mean, Hitler's paintings, obviously. The paintings are probably the ones that sell for the most, the art objects, because you can kind of read into them and try to get into the psychology of a serial killer through the artwork, I guess. It's a way of kind of getting close to the evil without succumbing to it. And people think that the people that buy this stuff get the same kinds of thrills they do in video games, the same kind of jolt. I don't know. I've never bought any of it, and my wife would kill me if I did.
Yes, I think that would be a little odd, and I would hope you wouldn't admit it even if you did. Although I think serial killer art is easier to put on the wall than their sneakers. So I sort of see that. But so we have the banker who is trying to hide his past.
Yes.
His past comes to haunt him in a way that sounds threatening. What does he find, without telling us the end? What challenges does he face while he's dealing with this threat to his identity?
His whole life, he's been struggling to create his own narrative. This is who I am, separate of who my father is. And so for a while, he became a photographer. He did color photographs. His father did black and white, just to separate himself and create his own art. But in the process, he experienced, some really awful things. Gave that up, so went into banking, didn't want anything to do with photography, trying to escape it again. and really almost pretending like it doesn't exist. His mother has taken that tact. Never talk about it, never talk about the husband, as if he never existed. So only he's tried to be, tried to live a life that's entirely different of what it was before he was 8 years old.
But now he's threatened.
Now he's threatened because, I mean, the person calls him on the phone, and I'll give away one plot twist. There is a murder. The evidence points to my protagonist. So the only way he can absolve himself is to go back to his father and find out who the man is who's copying him.
Oh my God. This is so interesting. Now you're a father, right?
Yes.
So when you were writing this, did it prompt you to think about how the book relates to you, or did any of this outside of the murders draw from your own life?
Well, Dad always had some interesting hobbies.
Okay. No. There we go. You heard it here first.
Yeah. No, I mean, my father was totally different from this. And my mother was a devout Christian Scientist, but not like the mother is in the book here. I have my own children. I've never killed anyone, so I haven't had to keep those kinds of secrets from them.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Happy to hear that. So when people finish reading Murderabilia, what do you hope that they come away with, or how do you hope that they feel when they finish reading and they close the book and they've read that last page? What do you hope that they walk away with after they finish reading the book?
That the only way to overcome your past is to reconcile yourself with it, to face it and move on. I think they come away with that there are more victims than the people that are actually killed. With these poor children, Carrie Rawson compared it to PTSD when she found out. She was in therapy for years. And another kind of thing that I explored and really through the religious aspects of it, because there's a Christian Science element in it, is the power of delusion. That delusion, by denying the existence of something, you both wound your children and protect them at the same time.
Okay. And where does this take place?
In San Diego.
Okay, so it's set in
and there are a couple of chapters because the son does some photography, some international photography, in as well as Algeria, and those are places that I know.
Because you traveled all over the world, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think if people want to know more about you, Carl, or they want to know more about Murderabilia, I guess they're just going to have to buy the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go. So if people do want to buy the book, where can they find it?
You can find it on Amazon. You can order it through Barnes & Noble. La Playa Books is carrying it. Carnival Books, I think, is carrying it. Mysterious Galaxy is carrying it. So
Great.
You should be able to find it there.
Okay. So Google it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for sharing your insights and your work with us this morning. Best of luck.
Thanks so much for inviting me. This is really fun.
Yeah. Best of luck on your next book. We'll be looking for that.
All right. I'm trying to finish it this month.
All right. Well, we'll let you get back to that. So thank you for being here with us today. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. If you enjoyed this bookshot today, please like, subscribe, and share. If you're interested in more videos like this, please go to the Southern California Writers Association Facebook group or our YouTube channel, Writers Online. Please, so until then, stay safe, stay sane, and we will see you next week when we welcome Brad Parks. See you.
Thank you. Thank you.